Our story begins over a period of 10 days in March. Joanna Dennehy murdered her flatmates and landlord before attempting to kill two more men she met randomly while walking their dogs. Joanna Dennehy killed because she enjoyed the feeling it gave her. Over a period of 10 days in March 2013, Dennehy murdered 3 men in England in what became known as the Peterborough Canal murders. Her overall goal, along with her accomplice Gary Richards, was to kill 9 men in total, emulating the infamous Bonnie and Clyde. Despite attempting to kill 2 more men, she failed and was far short of her intended number. In just 10 days in March 2013, Cambridgeshire police arrested Joanna Dennehy, who stabbed 3 men to death in Peterborough, England, and attacked 2 more in Hereford. Police arrested Dennehy a few days after the first body was discovered. But once she was convicted, her story became even more bizarre as she fell in love with other inmates multiple times. Even though she would spend the rest of her life in prison, she still tried to attract men. In March 2013, 30-year-old Joanna Dennehy went on a 10-day killing spree in Peterborough, England. Joanna Dennehy had a troubled life. Born in St Albans, Hertfordshire, in August 1982, she left home at the age of 16 when she ran off with her 21-year-old boyfriend, John Traynor. When Dennehy became pregnant in 1999 at the age of 17, she was angry because she didn't want children. Once her daughter was born, Dennehy began drinking, using drugs, and cutting herself. "I came out of hospital and the first thing I thought was to get a shot," Traynor told The Sun. Despite her behavior, she became pregnant again in 2005. Traynor later left her, taking the children away from her and the toxic environment she had created for everyone. She was cheating on him, self-harming, and seemed to be a threat to his family. His instincts proved correct, but even he did not know how far Dennehy would go with her madness. After he left, she moved to Peterborough where she met Gary Richards, who was in love with her despite her problems. She was also alleged to have financed her addictions through sex work, which may have driven her to hate men. It wasn't until February 2012, when Joanna Dennehy was 29, that her problems came to light. Dennehy was arrested for theft and admitted to a psychiatric hospital. During this time, she was diagnosed with autism and obsessive-compulsive disorder. Then, more than a year after her arrest, Joanna Dennehy went on a 10-day killing spree. In February 2014, Joanna Dennehy was sentenced to life in prison for stabbing 3 men to death in Peterborough, England in March 2013. Joanna Dennehy met 31-year-old Łukasz Slabazuski in Peterborough a few days before Dennehy decided to kill him. After drinking together at a pub, she took him to another house owned by the landlord she was renting her flat from while he was blindfolded. According to the Cambridgeshire newspaper, Slabazuski told friends he was going to meet the woman he thought was his new lover. Instead, Joanna Dennehy stabbed him in the heart. She then put him in a bin and moved on to her next victim. 10 days after killing Slabazuski, Joanna Dennehy killed one of her roommates, 56-year-old John Chapman, in the same manner. Then, a few hours later, she killed her 48-year-old landlord, Kevin Lee, with whom she was having an affair. Before killing Lee, she convinced him to wear a black sequin dress. This is where her accomplices came in to dispose of the bodies. Gary Richards, 47, and Leslie Layton, 36, helped Dennehy transport and dump the victims in canals, including putting Lee in explicit sexual positions to further humiliate him. Joanna Dennehy's accomplices later claimed that they hadn't wanted to help her but had given in to their fear. Despite Richards being over 7 feet tall, he still stuck to this story. He always said she was a terrifying figure despite being about 2 feet taller than him. On their way back from disposing of their last 2 victims, the trio traveled west across the country to the town of Hereford, looking for more people for Dennehy to kill. During the trip, according to a BBC report, Dennehy turned to Richards and said, "I want entertainment. I need you to entertain me." Once in Hereford, they came across 2 men, John Rogers and Robin Perezza, walking their dogs. Dennehy stabbed Perezza in the shoulder and chest, then stabbed Rogers over 40 times. Thanks to quick medical intervention, both were saved and testified against her at her trial. Joanna Dennehy later stated that she only targeted men because she was a mother and did not want to kill other women, especially not a woman with a child. However, she said that killing men, according to her reasoning, could be a good pastime. She later told a psychologist that she developed a desire to kill more after Slobuzevsky for no apparent reason. 2 days after Joanna Dennehy killed Kevin Lee, his family reported him missing. He was found in the ditch where Dennehy had left him. Police identified Joanna Dennehy as a suspect, but when they tried to question her, she and Richards fled. This only lasted for 2 days before they found her. Her arrest seemed to amuse her more than anything else. During her arrest, she laughed, joked, and flirted with the male police officer who was recording her. While awaiting trial, police found her diary, which included an escape plan that included cutting off a guard's finger to use his fingerprint to fool the security system. She was placed in solitary confinement for 2 years until after the court proceedings were over. After confessing to everything, Joanna Dennehy was sentenced to life in prison, with the judge ordering that she never be released. He said this was due to her preconceptions and lack of normal human emotions. According to the Cambridgeshire newspaper, she is one of 3 women in the UK to have been given a full life sentence, along with Rosemary West and Myra Hindley, who died in 2002. Richards was sentenced to life with a minimum term of 19 years, while Layton received 14 years. Joanna Dennehy has been in the spotlight for making the most of her time in prison by finding love again with cellmate Hayley Palmer. She tried to marry her in 2018, but Palmer's family were concerned that Dennehy would put her in danger. That same year, the 2 lovers attempted suicide in a failed suicide pact. Another romance with a different inmate followed. But as of May 2021, Dennehy and Palmer were back together, even after Palmer's release, and still intending to marry. The Sun also reported that Dennehy wrote letters to men while in prison, trying to lure victims, even though she is in prison for the rest of her life. In 2019, Dennehy was transferred to Lone Newton Prison, the same place where English convict Rose West, the only other living lifer in the country, was being held. That was until Dennehy threatened her life, and prison officials moved west to ensure her safety. Dennehy was later also placed in the same prison as English convict Lucy Letby, ranked as one of the most dangerous serial killers due to her lack of remorse, her pleasure in killing, and the way she kills. Joanna Dennehy's inhumanity shows us a real monster. So here we have reached the end of a story. I hope you liked it. Don't forget to like and subscribe.